Good morning, I'm Joe Fryer.
Hey everybody, I'm Savannah Sellers. Breaking right now on Morning News Now, hospitalized. This morning, Vatican officials confirm Pope Francis is in the hospital again and will undergo intestinal surgery. This just one day after going in for a checkup. We'll take you to Rome for the latest. Also this morning, smoky skies. Millions of people are under air quality alerts as smoke from a wildfire in Canada seeps into the northeast. We have team coverage with a look at the conditions, plus what you should know to stay safe. Celebration turned tragedy in Virginia. A high school graduation ceremony ends with gunfire. This morning, at least 2 people are dead and several others injured.
You're supposed to be happy about people graduating. We're supposed to be supporting one another, hugging one another, loving one another. And then a shooting happened. Come on now.
What we know about what happened and the 19-year-old who is now under arrest. And officially in, we're following more breaking news this morning. Former Vice President Mike Pence officially announces he's running for president. This just hours after former New Jersey Governor Christie entered the race.
I am going out there to take out Donald Trump, but here's why. I want to win. And I don't want him to win.
We'll bring you the latest on the now crowded field of GOP contenders. A lot of news to get to this morning.
I was going to say crowded field, crowded news morning.
That's right. Thank you for joining us today. And we're going to start with that breaking news on Pope Francis this morning. The 86-year-old back in the hospital where doctors are due to perform abdominal surgery on him.
This is video we just got in of the Pope arriving at Gemelli Hospital, where the surgery is scheduled to start in the next few hours. NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Lavanga is outside that hospital in Rome. Joins us with the latest. Claudio, good morning. So what exactly is the operation the Pope is having? Do we know how long he's expected to stay in the hospital?
Good morning, Savannah. Good morning, Joe. Well, the Pope arrived about within the last hour here at the Gemelli Hospital behind me. So essentially, the Vatican has issued a statement, taking everybody by surprise this morning, saying that today he will undergo an abdominal surgery to treat what the Vatican calls a recurrent and painful and worsening intestinal blockage. Now, they called the surgery a laparotomy. Now, what that is an incision of the abdominal cavity to treat a laparocell, which is a hernia that is formed over a previous scar that could have been formed at this point during the last surgery he had here still at the Gemelli Hospital in 2021 when he had 13 inches of his colon removed due to an inflammation. Now, back then, he spent about 10 days here in hospital. This time, the Vatican said that once again, he will have to spend at least a few days to allow for a full recovery. The Vatican also said that they will not issue another update until the surgery is over, which may be later this afternoon. Savannah, Joe?
So, Claudio, you just referenced this. I mean, the Pope has had these several health issues over the past year. You just mentioned when he had part of his colon removed a couple of years ago right there, same hospital. We know that he had a scare earlier this year. How big of a concern is this new setback?
Well, every time the Pope goes to the hospital, of course, there is a concern. This is an 86-year-old man with a medical history, and he will undergo this surgery under general anesthesia, we've been told by the Vatican, which is always dangerous, especially for the elderly. Now, just yesterday, the Pope was seen here at the Gemelli Hospital, once again, by surprise, for some checkups. But he was released literally a few hours later. He returned to the Vatican, so that sounded like a false alarm. But clearly, there was something more serious to it, which is why he came back here today. Even though it must be said that this morning he attended the scheduled events that he was supposed to attend, including the general audience, and it looked fine. So this must have been something that they've been planning for at least the past few days, guys.
So, Claudio, speaking of scheduled events, the Pope has several big trips coming up. That includes visits to Portugal and Mongolia. Could those get postponed?
Well, right now they're still on, to the point that just yesterday we received the accreditation request for his next trip, which is he's going to Lisbon in Portugal for World Youth Day at the beginning of August. So that's confirmed, at least it looks like it. And then at the end of August, he's going to go to Marseille in France. And then he has a long trip coming up at the beginning of September to Mongolia. I mean, the Vatican has said that those trips are still on, so we'll have to wait and see how this surgery goes to find out whether those trips will be affected at all. Back to you guys.
All right, Claudio, with breaking news out of Rome, thank you so much. Now to that air quality alert that is impacting tens of millions of people in more than a dozen states.
Yeah, in the South and Midwest, there's high concentrations of ozone. That's pollutants paired with heat, and that causes problems. And then over here on the East Coast, hazy skies blotted the sun yesterday, with more on tap for today. This is a live look outside at New York right now. That's not fog. That is a haze that is still hanging heavy in the air from that smoke. And take a look at these pictures we're going to show you from Yankee Stadium. Look at that sky, that smoke blanketing the field during last night's game between the Yankees and the White Sox. Well, all that smoke is a result of wildfires burning up in Canada. 9 million acres have been torched this year alone. And the health risk posed by wildfire smoke is causing concern among some experts.
When we're breathing wildfire smoke, that smoke is getting into our lungs, and they may feel irritation, a tingling sensation in their throat, some irritation. Sometimes their eyes will tear.
Can also be a heart concern. Well, it's not just these fires. According to a 2022 study from Stanford, the number of Americans experiencing at least one day of unhealthy air quality has increased drastically over the last decade.
For more details on the air quality in your area and everything else you need to know with your Morning News Now forecast, let's check in with Angie.
Yeah, Angie warned us about this yesterday, and my goodness, it got bad last night. Hey, Angie, good morning.
Good morning, guys. And we're going to see another round of that, kind of the worst of it moving through parts of New York City, especially as we get into that evening commute, much like what we saw yesterday, the hazy orange conditions that you've probably seen all over social media and everywhere in between. Let's talk about the air quality forecast here as a whole, because we do have 97 million people that are dealing with some issues when it comes to air quality across the country today. And it is in part due to that ozone as well as the Canadian wildfires. This is going to be something that we'll deal with here for at least today, likely when it comes to the wildfire smoke into tomorrow as well. So let's track exactly where that smoke is going. We have plenty of fires burning in parts of Quebec. That's specifically where most of them are still out of control. And we're dealing with already a record start to the Canadian wildfire season. It just started, and it is raging from coast to coast in that country. Either way, we have a low pressure system that's kind of ushering in all of this smoke across the New England and Northeast. And this is going to be something we deal with through the afternoon hours into the evening hours. Another thick plume is going to work its way through and leaving us with some concerns when it comes to air quality. It's not just the sensitive groups that need to be taking note of this and staying indoors or reducing that excessive activity outside. We'll likely see these air quality alerts staying up and potentially even growing through the day today. Right now, 78 or more than 90 million are included in this, but less than 20 are included in that ozone. The rest of it is all because of the wildfires. You can see the areas that we're looking at for the worst of it. It's a stretch from Lake Ontario to Delaware, just outside of Philadelphia, including Harrisburg. We're talking very unhealthy air quality. This is something that's going to be problematic, like Savannah mentioned, for people with lung issues, for people with heart issues. And notice where we come in for Philadelphia when it comes to the air quality. Over 200, over 270 for Harrisburg. So really difficult conditions for breathing outside. All of this information will be updated throughout the day today, so something to note. Meanwhile, temperature-wise, the heat still continues for parts of the plains. 91 degrees for Bismarck today, upper 70s for Minneapolis, finally getting back into those more normal ranges for folks there. But we're keeping it cool in parts of the Northeast. We end up at 71 degrees today in New York, upper 70s for Washington, D.C. These numbers are a little below normal for this time of year. We kind of moderate out just in time for the weekend. If you're looking ahead to your Saturday and your Sunday plans in D.C., get ready for the mid-80s, even upper 80s by the time we wrap up our weekend. It'll be a little cooler, but still enjoyable on Saturday in New York at 77 degrees in the low 80s on Sunday. So be something we'll monitor. Just one quick note, too. We do have some thunderstorms that are possible in parts of the central and southern plains. It does extend into places like Denver, Pueblo, down through Amarillo. We'll have the potential to see the hail maybe and some stronger winds, but also that heavy rain will be possible with the flooding concern stretching into Colorado and down through Texas, including New Mexico and parts of that Oklahoma panhandle. This will be something that we'll watch through the afternoon and evening hours today as we get ready for maybe another inch or two, with some hourly rainfall rates approaching an inch. Guys, it'll be a busy day across the country, but that haze, that smokiness is going to be with us at least through the day today.
Yeah, no kidding. I landed last night from Massachusetts, and I was like, okay, this is new.
No,
yeah.
I had a friend on a flight where they actually made an announcement on the plane because you could start to smell it in her plane, she said.
Exactly. All right, Angie, thank you so much. And when it comes to the air quality, health experts are warning today may not be the best day to take a long walk in the park, especially if you do have some underlying health conditions. So coming up later in the hour, we will have more on how to keep safe when the air quality is this poor, keeping in mind that we could see this repeatedly during the wildfire season.
Yeah, heed those warnings. Stay safe. All right, turning now to Virginia, where at least 2 people were killed and another 5 were injured yesterday, just moments after a high school graduation ceremony came to an end. Richmond police say a 19-year-old man has been arrested in connection to the shooting. He is expected to be charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. NBC News Now's Aaron Gilchrist is in Richmond with more.
Joe and Savannah, we've just learned the names of the 2 people who died in this shooting yesterday here in Richmond. A graduate of Huguenot High School, 18-year-old Sean Jackson, and his father, 36-year-old Renzo Smith. It was just after 5 o'clock in the evening when graduates had left the ceremony from the Altria Theater here, outside on the sidewalk, taking photos, celebrating with their families, and suddenly gunfire erupted. There was a scramble at the scene here, as you might imagine, people trying to get back inside the theater, away from the gunfire. When it was all said and done, 7 people had been shot. Several of them rushed to the hospital. A couple of them were able to get into cars and go to the hospital. And ultimately, 2 people, as we said, died here. We also understand that VCU police, the university's police department, was able to capture a suspect fairly quickly after the incident happened. Police say that they have identified a 19-year-old who will be charged with second-degree murder here, although they have not released his name to the public just yet. Still today, there is a lot of mourning that's happening in this community. What was supposed to be a time of celebration is now a time of intense sadness for so many in this community. We also know that all of the other graduations that were scheduled to happen this week for the Richmond Public School District have now been canceled. Back to you.
All right, Aaron Gilchrist, just heartbreaking. Thank you. Well, new this morning, former Vice President Mike Pence makes it official and joins that growing field of Republican presidential candidates.
Today, before God and my family, I'm announcing I'm running for President of the United States. We can bring this country back. We can defend our nation and secure our border.
Pence officially launched his bid for the White House earlier this morning. He released that campaign video taking aim at President Biden. He also appeared to take on former President Trump, though he did not mention Trump specifically by name. Pence, now the 9th candidate vying for the GOP nomination, and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum also expected to announce his bid today. Just last night, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie held a town hall in New Hampshire, kicking off his second run for the White House. NBC News national correspondent Gabe Gutierrez has the latest.
Chris Christie making it official, kicking off his White House bid in New Hampshire. Back in 2016, Christie endorsed Donald Trump.
There is no better fighter than Donald Trump.
But now the brash former New Jersey governor is a fierce critic, arguing he's the strongest to take on Trump and slamming other Republicans for not doing the same.
They kind of cozy up to him. They hope that he implodes and that if they're nice to him, that they'll inherit his voters.
He joins a growing GOP field, 10 Republican candidates by the end of this week.
They're at 1%, some are at 0. I hear Chris Christie's coming in. What's the purpose? And he's polling at 0.
But some New Hampshire Republicans tell us they're looking for a Trump alternative.
Would you prefer Chris Christie over Donald Trump?
Right now, I'm afraid yes. Too many issues where he's too self-absorbed.
Others backing the former president.
I like everything he's done about the wall. I love immigrants, but I just like him coming in legally.
Trump's top rival, Governor Ron DeSantis, touting his economic record in Florida.
In Washington, they're adding trillions of more in debt. In Florida, we're running budget surpluses.
Chris Christie is staking his campaign here in New Hampshire, but he faces an uphill battle. The growing GOP field may end up giving Trump an advantage, but the Christie campaign tells us that it plans to engage Trump and act as a counterpunch.
Back to you.
All right, Gabe, thank you so much. We are learning more and more about the investigation into former President Donald Trump's handling of classified documents. NBC News has learned about 24 Secret Service agents have been subpoenaed or have appeared before a federal grand jury in Washington that's looking into the matter. For his part, Trump has denied any wrongdoing. For more on this, we're joined by NBC News Justice reporter Ryan Riley. Ryan, good morning to you. So this is an unusual circumstance to have Secret Service agents testify in an investigation involving a former president. What can you tell us about this testimony, and what kind of information prosecutors hope that these agents might have?
Well, that's a lot of Secret Service special agents. You know, that's 24 special agents that they've spoken with. So you have a pretty comprehensive view, you would imagine, as to Donald Trump's handling of classified information and his practices, because these are the eyes and ears of I guess, the government and the investigation in this matter. These are people who are with Donald Trump all the time. This is really kind of an unprecedented situation because of how close Secret Service agents get into the lives of the people that they follow. They just have a ton of information. So it's certainly something that I would imagine makes Trump very uncomfortable, and would probably make anyone who was being followed around by a protection detail uncomfortable, because they just know the intimate details of their lives.
So, Ryan, the New York Times also reporting that Mark Meadows, who is the final chief of staff in the Trump administration, testified before a federal grand jury. They were hearing evidence in the Justice Department's investigations into the former president. What do investigators want to hear from Meadows, and what could this mean for Trump?
Meadows is really one of those key figures, I think, in this, because, we've seen him sort of a disembodied sort of Mark Meadows, right? We've seen messages that have come from Mark Meadows that have been sent to others. A lot of those came out over the course of the January 6th committee's investigation. His text messages, including putting pressure on the Justice Department. And sending along some of these bogus claims of voter fraud and pretty outrageous claims that really had no basis in reality, including ones that were based out of Michigan off of someone who was later parodied on SNL, just sort of sending along a lot of garbage to the Justice Department. So I think that, the pressure points of that investigation will be really interesting to see what Meadows knows about what he, because he was really at the center of this for a lot of those key days leading up to January 6th and on January 6th itself, in terms of what the president was up to.
So, Ryan, there's some questions about having 2 grand juries hearing testimony in this investigation, one in D.C., one in Florida. Do we know how they're being used and if they're seeing the same information?
I think we're going to find out more about that, in the coming days, because really there is a lot of complications to this matter. And because grand juries are secret, and it's basically, it's unlawful for members of the government to talk to you about an ongoing grand jury, it's been a little bit complicated, because reporters basically have to figure this out from people who are, either representing people who are testifying before the grand jury, or from people who are testifying before the grand jury themselves. So it's a little bit of like putting together these pieces of a puzzle. But, there clearly is some interaction between these two entities. There's a number of different options for how this could be playing out. But I think, right now, all eyes are sort of on Florida to see whether and how this is going to play out in the coming days, as we expect testimony this week.
All right, Ryan Riley, thank you so much.
Now to Ukraine, which is dealing with the aftermath of yesterday's devastating dam collapse.
The breach sent floodwaters hurtling toward nearby towns and villages and turned streets into rivers. Kyiv estimates more than 40,000 people are at risk, with rescuers rushing to evacuate people from the hardest hit areas of the southern Kherson region.
Ukraine and Russia have both accused each other of blowing up the dam, but the White House said it could not conclusively say what happened. Speaking yesterday, the UN's aid chief said the disaster will have major humanitarian repercussions.
The sheer magnitude of the catastrophe will only become fully realized in the coming days. But it's already clear that it will have grave and far-reaching consequences for thousands of people in southern Ukraine on both sides of the front line, through the loss of homes, food, safe water, and livelihoods.
NBC News military analyst Colonel Jack Jacobs joins us now to talk more about this. Colonel, always good to have you. Great to see you here in studio. How long could something like this take to recover from? What's your reaction to that grave and far-reaching consequences we just heard there?
Well, we have to remember that this river starts all the way up in Smolensk in Russia, and it's a vast drainage area, huge river basin that dumps millions and millions of gallons of water into the Black Sea. Breaking that dam then floods all the cities and towns southwest of the dam. And more than just making it difficult to recover, to save people who are flooded out, heard 40,000, maybe as many as 50,000 people are all flooded out, is the danger of cholera and other diseases because of the water that washes over this entire basin. So it might take a long time. And in the interim between now and then, you're liable to have a lot of casualties.
So, Colonel, as we mentioned, both sides are blaming each other for this. The U.S. saying it's too early to know exactly what the cause is. How does this investigation proceed? Do you see the U.S. playing a role at all in that investigation?
Well, we're gonna send people over there to give a hand in the investigation because we do have a great deal of experience in this sort of thing. But consider this. This area, this dam, was under the control, has been under the control of the Russians for more than a year. If you're in a defensive position like the Russians are, you plan ahead, which means that if you're considering the possibility of having to leave the area, you set explosives on major supply routes like roads, on bridges, and dams like this. And it's entirely possible that either accidentally or perhaps on purpose, my money's on the Russians having done it.
Yeah. Let's also talk about this counteroffensive that we've been anticipating from Kyiv. There's been questions in recent days. Have we seen some of these battles spark up? Is this the start of it? Are we still waiting for it? How could a catastrophe like this impact those plans?
Well, one of the arguments for the Russians having done it is that it makes it much more difficult in this area for the Ukrainians to conduct a counteroffensive. It doesn't help the Russians either, but don't forget this is farther. The results of the dams bursting far southwest of where the Russians are. So my money, again, is on the Russians having done it to make it more difficult for the Ukrainians to conduct a counteroffensive.
Colonel Jacobs, we always appreciate your expertise. I'm still thinking of all the incredibly profound things you told us, too, when you joined us and spent your Memorial Day morning with us. So we appreciate you all.
Thanks for having me on the program.
Absolutely.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is in America this morning. It's his first official visit to Washington since he got that job in October. He's set to meet with President Biden as well as members of Congress during the trip. NBC News White House correspondent Ali Rafa joins us with a preview. Ali, good morning. So what is on the British Prime Minister's agenda for today, and what are the big priorities for this visit?
Yeah, Joe, good morning. Well, it's no secret how special and strong this longstanding relationship between the U.S. and U.K. Has been for hundreds of years now. And this visit is going to aim to strengthen that alliance even further. So we know that Prime Minister Sunak is going to head to Capitol Hill today to meet with members of Congress. Tomorrow, he's going to meet with U.S. business leaders as well as obviously President Biden. And he has a couple of goals during this trip. The two main ones are going to be specifically to strengthen the economic ties between the U.S. and the U.K. We know that free trade agreement that was talked about between the U.S. and U.K. during the Trump administration has been put on hold the past few years. He's aiming to strengthen this economic alliance to build some jobs in England, especially as Britain continues to struggle with their adjustment post-Brexit. They're dealing with sky-high inflation. So Sunak is trying to establish himself as this stable, reliable British leader who can really rally for this support for Britain on a world stage. Secondly, we expect Ukraine to be a major focus of this trip. Obviously, the U.S. and the U.K. have been in lockstep with their support of Ukraine over the past year. The U.K. was the first European country to back Ukraine with actual military and financial support. And we've seen over the last few months these steps by Britain to support Ukraine even further. They're promoting Ukraine's involvement in NATO. They're saying, if we had F-16 fighter jets, we would be sending them to Ukraine. So it's going to be interesting to see how this meeting could potentially boost and spark more U.S. support, especially with that important NATO summit coming up next month in Lithuania.
Let's talk specifically about the meeting with President Biden tomorrow. What can we expect from that? We know that the UK's had a few prime ministers recently. So how strong is the relationship between these two men right now?
Yeah, so we're told that they already share this warm relationship, and this isn't the first time they're going to be meeting. This is the first time Prime Minister Sunak is going to be visiting the White House as Prime Minister, but these two have met 5 times already. So we expect this to be a warm discussion that these two are going to share. They're expected also to hold a joint press conference. And the White House is saying that in addition to those topics I mentioned earlier, they're also going to talk about climate change policy, strengthening the economic relationship between the two countries, as well as, quote, reviewing developments in Northern Ireland as part of their shared commitment to preserving the gains of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. We saw them come together when President Biden visited Ireland. That was part of his trip, talking about that with the British Prime Minister.
Quickly, while we have you, one more thing I want to ask you about. Secretary of State Blinken is heading to China now in a few weeks to take part in talks there. That's according to 2 U.S. officials. We know those previous planned trips, that previous trip to China was postponed because of the Chinese spy balloon incident. So what can we expect this time?
Yeah, this is something we've been asking about for months now, whether this trip would even eventually happen. And so now we're hearing from these officials that this trip is set to happen. We still don't know when exactly it will, as well as any other details. But as you mentioned, this is coming as U.S. relations with China are at an all-time low. But we know that when President Biden met with President Xi in Singapore, he did say that Secretary Blinken would indeed finish and complete this trip. So that seems to be following up on that. But all eyes are going to be on this trip when it actually does happen.
To put it mildly. All right, Ali Rafa, thank you so much.
Well, on Capitol Hill this morning, the fallout is being felt from the deal between the White House and congressional Republicans to raise the debt ceiling. The drama's not over. 11 House Republicans are angry with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy for his handling of the deal, and they took a really unusual step. They joined with Democrats to block a procedural vote on a bill regulating gas stoves. NBC News congressional correspondent Julie Sirkin joins us now with more. And if that sounds wonky to you at home, don't worry. She's going to walk us through it. Like most things in Washington, this is not really about that gas stove bill, which we were talking about a lot a few months back. But what are these 11 members of the GOP really upset about? And how does this gas stove bill play in here?
Well, Savannah, play Drake's trust issues, because that's literally what this is about. These 11 members of the House Freedom Caucus who voted against that debt deal struck between Speaker McCarthy and President Biden have trust issues with Speaker McCarthy. They don't trust his leadership. Broken several promises that he's made when he was trying to get the gavel. Now, the tough part for us as journalists trying to cover this is a lot of these deals were made behind closed doors. Whatever promises McCarthy made the House Freedom Caucus and vice versa, we don't know much about. And leadership is denying that they broke any of these assurances made to House Freedom Caucus members back in January. But let's talk about where we are now. These 11 members voted against a rule, basically a procedural step that is required in the House for any bill to come up. This effectively blocks the majority, in this case Republicans, from legislating. And there's a couple of reasons for that. They are angry that Speaker McCarthy struck this deal with President Biden over the debt limit. They are angry that McCarthy did not make the most conservative deal he could have, despite McCarthy and leadership saying, listen, we only control one chamber. We only control the House, half of one chamber, rather. The Senate, the Democrats control the Senate. So we did as much as we could.
So Speaker McCarthy, if we remember back to this, had to cobble together a lot of groups to become Speaker. That was a drama all in its own with the several votes it took. Well, now there's talk of a motion to remove him. Should he be worried about his job? Is this at this level that some Republicans are angry with him?
Well, if you ask conservatives who are threatening that motion to vacate, that motion to remove him, he should be. But there is talk that that is a long ways off. Now, despite that, they're already causing problems for McCarthy and leadership. And with this vote yesterday, they effectively showed leadership, showed McCarthy that even despite a motion to vacate, even with McCarthy keeping that gavel and keeping his job, they can make his life really tough here. Now, today, the House is going to come back into session. They're going to attempt to take up this rule again. McCarthy's been holding meetings with all of these different folks, all of these different factions of his conference to try to get them on the same page. But as you said at the top, the drama with the debt limit might be over, but in all intents and purposes, the real drama, the real work for McCarthy here has only just begun. We're only a couple months into this new Congress. He still has a year and a half left to legislate with a very, very, very slim majority that is now quite angry with him over this debt deal.
Absolutely. And what went down with the gas stove bill? First time in 20 years a vote like that has not gone through. Julie Sirkin, thank you very much for reporting this morning.
Coming up in Morning News now, higher risk. New research shows your odds of dying from a heart attack changes based on what day it is. Later this hour, Dr. Natalie Azar joins us to explain which day is deadliest and why.
But first, shockwaves in the sports world and beyond over the sudden merger of the PGA and Live Golf. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We're back with a major merger that is shaking up the golf world.
Yeah, and a surprise move. PGA Tour and the Saudi-backed Live Golf have joined forces. Live was founded just 2 years ago. Well, a statement by the PGA said in part, quote, "There is no question that the Live model has been positively transformative for golf. We believe there are opportunities for the game to evolve while also maintaining its storied history and tradition. This partnership represents the best opportunity to extend and increase the impact of golf for all." Well, Rex Hoggard is a reporter for the Golf Channel and joins us now to discuss this further. Rex, good morning. Thanks for joining us. So let's start by playing a bit of an interview that PGA Commissioner Jay Monahan gave last year. Let's listen.
And I would ask, any player that has left or any player that would ever consider leaving, have you ever had to apologize for being a member of the PGA Tour?
So clearly a change of tune there from about a year ago. Walk us through this surprise merger and what the reaction's been like at this point from the golf world.
When we spoke with the Commissioner, Jay Monahan, yesterday about this, he sort of simplified it, and he just said, quote, "We're better together." And he's talking about, of course, the PGA Tour, and not so much Live Golf. I think he was talking more about the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, which is backing Live Golf. I think if you dig a little bit deeper and talking with people inside the PGA Tour, this came down to kind of two issues, where the Tour is at right now. There is an ongoing lawsuit, an antitrust lawsuit that was filed against the Tour last year by a group of players. That was going to last a long time. It was going to take a lot of money. It was going to take a lot of resources. And it was probably going to dig into things that the PGA Tour didn't want to dig into. So that was part of this. The other part of this is if you look at the competition and the way the field is spread right now, the PGA Tour is the better of the two products between Live Golf and what the Tour does. 10 years from now, I'm not quite sure the commissioner liked where everything was going. So he felt like this was as good a time of any to sit down and have this conversation. And keep in mind, we're talking about mergers and we're talking about what this will look like going forward. He made it clear yesterday, this is just a framework agreement and that there's still a lot of work to do to figure out how these two sides fit together.
So, Rex, from a player's perspective, what are the differences between the two leagues? And then you mentioned the framework still needs to be worked out, but do we know how this merger is going to work from a practical point of view?
I think the commissioner's hands were tied on this. Normally, things like this are not secret until they're announced. Normally, they leak out and you get an idea of what's coming. This sort of just dropped yesterday, and I think that was almost by design. The commissioner wanted to get this framework agreement in place between the PIF and the PGA Tour, and now they kind of have to get together. And there's a policy board. There's 5 members. There's 5 tour members, players, who are on that policy board. They'll have a voice now in exactly how these two entities go together. But to answer your question, it's kind of hard to think what that looks like. The PGA Tour has a full slate of events. There's 48 events on this year's schedule. And so how you get this team concept, because you would have concurrent events is the idea, how you get those two to work together, it's going to be a lot of moving pieces.
So there was a lot of drama for players who left the PGA Tour for Live Golf. They were suspended. When they went to Live, some of them got these major $1 million signing bonuses for doing so. And there are big names, players like Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka. What happens to those players now that, essentially it seems like they're back with the PGA, and then also there were lawsuits between Live and the PGA? What happens with all that?
There was really 2 key pieces of information from yesterday's framework agreement. One talked about the investment from the Public Investment Fund into whatever this new entity is going to be. And the other one is those players will be allowed to come back. I think the wording was they can reapply for membership. And when I asked the commissioner yesterday, point blank, what that path back will look like, he really didn't know. And as recently as last week, I asked the tour officials if there was any type of path back. And I was told that there is no policy right now. So it's going to take a lot of work to figure out how they fit back. And to give you an idea, there have been players who left the PGA Tour. They gave up their membership. They didn't join the lawsuit against the PGA Tour. They joined Live, and they really haven't said much. And then there have been players who joined the lawsuit and have been very vocal. You can kind of go down the list. It's going to be difficult to see how they work themselves out.
Definitely. Rex Hoggard, thank you so much. Certainly a talker this morning. We appreciate you joining us.
Coming up, our coverage of the air quality concerns here in the U.S. continues this morning. Millions of Americans are waking up to smoky skies from a fire burning in Canada. After the break, we're going to talk about the health risks and what you can do to stay safe.
And a benefit of breastfeeding. We'll talk about a new study that shows a link to your child's test scores later in life. This is Morning News Now. We're back with continued coverage on the wildfires out of Canada and the serious health risks they pose both there as well as here in the U.S.
Health experts say some groups are especially vulnerable to the polluted air. NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa has more.
Tens of millions of people across the country under air quality alerts. That's because Canada is experiencing one of the worst starts to its wildfire season ever recorded, with federal officials saying more than 6 million acres in the country have already burned this year.
Our modeling shows that this may be an especially severe wildfire season throughout the summer.
In Quebec, around 14,000 people were forced to evacuate, according to CBC News. And more than 150 fires are still burning in the province. In recent days, smoke from those fires has been drifting across the northeastern U.S. and Midwest. That's raised concerns over air pollution, particularly for sensitive groups like children, elderly adults, and people with asthma or other pre-existing conditions.
The most immediate effect are coughing, bronchitis, exacerbation of asthma, respiratory problems, as well as a cardiovascular disease.
Of particular concern to experts, tiny particles in smoke that can penetrate deep into the lungs.
Today is not the perfect day to have a long run. I think it would be better to be inside, to close your windows, have air conditioning.
Unfortunately, experts estimate there will be an increase of exposure to wildfire smoke due to climate change.
The fact that we are seeing longer period of drought, the dry season gets longer, and that becomes really a perfect condition, unfortunately, to lead to this wildfire smoke.
Our thanks to Emily for that report. Health experts urge that people, even pets with respiratory-related health conditions, should closely monitor their symptoms. Vulnerable people should consider wearing a mask outside to help keep safe.
It's now time for our weekly medical checkup, and we're going to take a closer look at how you can protect yourself from that poor air quality.
Plus, your risk for a heart attack may change by the day, and it could have something to do with your sleep. Let's bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar. So first of all, everyone's in this area is, of course, talking about this. I know I went out to dinner last night, and there were people sitting outside.
Same,
and I said, I would like to be as far, but can I sit in the kitchen, please?
I know.
What is it how worried should we be if you have a day or two of exposure to this, and is there something you can be doing to try and stay safe?
Yeah, I think for most individuals who don't have underlying respiratory issues, it's not a major thing, but that doesn't mean that you should go out and go for a run in the middle of this. And one thing that I think is important is people can check. There's a website, airnow.gov, which is actually the EPA's website, and they can tell you the quality of your air in your zip code, which is really important. And I know you guys talked about it a little bit, but individuals with underlying respiratory issues, young children, older individuals, pregnant women, those are the people that we get concerned about. My son is supposed to run a track meet. He has asthma. I'm not sure we're going to let him because it really can be an issue. Just walking down the street, you may not feel it, but once you're doing any kind of strenuous activity, that's when you can really notice it. There's a lot of gases in the air when that wildfire smoke comes.
And bad for lungs and heart.
Bad for lungs and heart, of course.
Okay, speaking of heart, let's talk about this study that we keep teasing that it just seems kind of wild. It suggests that Monday could be more deadly for heart attacks. What is this?
Yeah, there's always, we talk about seasonality, that people don't do as well if they have a heart attack around Christmas time. There's always kind of these variations that can occur with things that are happening, especially with your cardiovascular system. So yes, this study actually found that a serious heart attack is more likely at the beginning of the week, and they are blaming the sleep cycle or your circadian rhythm as a culprit, right? Because during the week you're getting up at a certain time and going to bed at a certain time, and on the weekends that can shift, and that could be enough just to kind of throw off the cardiovascular system just enough. So doctors' orders, I said doctors' risks, no. Doctors' orders are, to avoid the classic risk factors for heart disease. Obviously, you want to try to keep your sleep sleep-wake cycle as much as you can the same during the week and on the weekends.
Big news for us.
I know. I always do these stories, and I feel bad for all of us, actually, for having to get up early some of these times.
Ignore us.
And obviously know the warning signs, especially if you're a woman. Some things can be slightly atypical: arm pain, nausea, vomiting. If you're feeling unwell, especially on a Monday, don't ignore it. Just go get checked out.
Here's an intriguing new study that shows breastfeeding longer could improve a child's test scores. I'm going to assume down the road improve their test scores. What more can you tell us about
exactly. So I'm always very cautious on reporting on these, and I will share, hopefully not TMI, but I was not able to breastfeed my children, and a lot of women feel a lot of shame in that and feel like they've already failed. So take this study with a grain of salt. We know that there are many benefits of breastfeeding. This study looked particularly at test scores. If a child was not breastfed at all, a little bit breastfed, or breastfed for 12 plus months. And they found that the kids who had the most breastfeeding performed modestly better on test scores. Modestly better on test scores. This is what I would say. If you're able to breastfeed, by all means, we encourage it. You know, we know that breast milk has so many wonderful advantages and benefits for a child. But if you are not able to, formula feed your child, have the support of your family and your healthcare providers, and your children will be just fine.
Very important message there. Okay, quickly on the last one, there's something here about timing and hitting the gym. All those questions people have.
I know. So this is interesting, and this is one small study. And again, whenever you can work out is the best time to work out. But if you are a woman and you work out in the morning, you're more likely to lower your blood pressure and you're likely to reduce stomach fat. In the evening, if you are a man, you are more likely to lower your blood pressure. And if you're a woman, you're more likely to increase your muscle mass. See, it gets a little bit confusing. So it's like, what are you aiming for? Belly fat versus blood pressure? Like I said from the beginning, anytime you can exercise is the best time. Outside is wonderful. You get the benefit of fresh air and sun.
Not right now.
Except today. And not on a Monday. And not on a Monday.
Except during wildfires in Canada. Sorry, Canada. And not on a Monday. And mixing it up. Strength, a little bit of cardio, a little bit of endurance, a little bit high intensity. Always mixing it up is good for your body and also good for your mind to keep you hitting that exercise.
Anytime, right?
Chill level, we just throw all these things at you.
Except this. Except that.
At least it's not a Monday, so hopefully you can digest it. Dr. Natalie Azer, as always, thank you.
You bet.
Coming up, Hollywood on hold. This morning, tens of thousands of performers are now ready to join writers on the picket line.
Up next, we will have the latest on talks between SAG-AFTRA and major studios and what another strike could mean for your favorite shows and movies. This is Morning News Now.
This morning, another possible strike is looming in Washington. Negotiations between the union that represents film and TV actors and the major film studios are expected to resume today.
Yeah, but that meeting's going to take on a new urgency after nearly 98% of SAG-AFTRA members voted in favor of a strike earlier this week. So that means if a deal can't be reached, the more than 160,000 performers there could walk off the job. They would join members of the Writers Guild who have been on strike for the past month. Those are those pictures that you're seeing there. Sean McNulty is a contributor at The Ankler. He joins us now to explain what this all means. Sean, good morning. So how likely is this next strike, and what are some of the big concerns here?
Likelihood is honestly anybody's guess at this point. The main concerns, money is a big one, obviously, as it is with the writers. You're talking about residuals have changed in the streaming era versus the broadcast TV era is a big concern. The foreign business has boomed in the past 6 years, and they don't feel they're being properly compensated for that. You've got pay rate minimums, and there's things like even audition costs, where auditions used to be you go to a room, you read on a piece of paper in front of a casting director. And now, actors have to put on lighting at home and do their own things and send in tapes and things like that. So those are concerns as well for the actors at this point.
So even though the writers are on strike, the studios have said they have enough material to last maybe a few more months. What would be the impact of an actor's strike on top of that? And how could an actor's strike complicate negotiations between studios and the Writers Guild?
The thinking is it would certainly help the writers' cause if the actors were out with them. The actors have a strike date of essentially June 30th, so July 1st would be the first day of their strike. So the thinking is if their actors go out, this becomes very much more real fast. If the actors make a deal, as you said, the studios and the streamers have backpiled a lot of shows and movies that they're not going to feel real pain right now. And summertime, as we all know, is kind of a time for reruns and reality shows and game shows. So you're not, as the American consumer, is not going to really see this until the fall, which, if you're on strike every week, every month counts. So that's the real, measure here. But if the actors go out, all production stops, full stop. So that's a big difference in this. So that's what everybody's watching right now in these next 3 weeks.
So quickly, Sean, what does that mean? Just never-ending reruns until this does come to an end? I mean, how do they create content if writers and actors are on strike?
You're really relying on that back pile. So you look towards international shows. The UK is not on strike, and other markets around the world. This is only a U.S. only thing. You certainly have a lot of reality programming. Sports is back in a big way in the fall this year, which football, you may see more college football games on, broadcast TV, things like that. You may even see shows that were made for streaming, being put on linear television. They have this huge back pile of shows that have never been seen on linear TV. So you could, in theory, move some of those over as well and make additional payments to talent to do that. So these are some of the levers you can pull. It's not ideal. You will not have, Chicago Fire back on. You will not have all the, your favorite broadcast TV shows back on, and things like SNL wouldn't be back on. So it's not a catch-all solve, but there are levers that they can pull at this point.
You can just watch more news now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, of course.
Day.
You watch more news programming. Yes, exactly.
Hello.
Right.
Why didn't you say that for Sean McNulty? Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming here. It is important to note that Comcast, that's the corporation that owns NBC Universal, which we, of course, work for, is one of the entertainment companies represented by the trade group, and some editorial employees of NBC Universal's news division are represented by the Writers Guild of America.
Welcome back. We want to congratulate NBC News Washington correspondent Yamiche Alcindor and her husband Nathaniel, who have reason to celebrate a new addition. Yamiche gave birth to a healthy baby boy, Irie Miles Alcindor Klein, on May 30th. He weighed 5 pounds, and Yamiche described him as, quote, a very chill baby who, like many newborns, loves eating and sleeping. So we have a lot in common. Posting on Twitter, Yamiche shared a few images and the meaning of her son's name, which means vibes are good and everything is well. I love that. Yamiche has been candid about the couple's long journey trying to conceive, saying that she has been chasing motherhood for 4 years. So congrats to Yamiche and Nathaniel from all of us here at NBC News Now.
Absolutely. So exciting when she announced that she was pregnant. Also, can you imagine being like, yeah, my name means vibes are good.
Right.
I love it.
Everyone has to be chill around you at all times.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Joe.
That does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now. Everybody, thanks for joining us this Wednesday. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. We've got a lot of news to get to this morning, so let's get into it. Breaking overnight, Pope Francis hospitalized. This morning, the Pope is back in a Rome hospital. The Vatican says he'll undergo abdominal surgery this afternoon. This after visiting the hospital just yesterday for a checkup. We've got more on his condition in just a moment. Up in smoke, it is an air quality nightmare for millions across the East Coast and Midwest this morning. Smoke from those Canadian wildfires is billowing south, engulfing major cities like New York in a blanket of unhealthy smog. The choking air served as a dismal backdrop to last night's Yankees game in the Bronx. We've got more on how you can breathe a little easier and when we can expect clearer skies. Also this morning, time to start. Former Vice President Mike Pence makes it official. Just a few hours ago, he formally launched his 2024 presidential campaign with this YouTube video. We've got more on that coming up as former New Jersey Governor Christie kickstarts his bid for the White House, both vying to dethrone former President Trump as the GOP frontrunner. Hole in Two, a surprise merger that is sure to shake up the world of golf, why a group representing 9/11 families is sounding the alarm. And we'll end the hour with a second helping of flipping the script this week with a playwright who's taking Shakespeare down south. Play called Fat Ham. It's up for a few Tonys coming up this Sunday. It's one of my favorite shows of the year. Excited to talk with the playwright behind it.
Quite the name. I can't wait to learn more.
Exactly.
Yeah, we love flipping the script. So exciting.
We're going to start this morning with that breaking news out of Rome, where Pope Francis is going to be in the hospital as doctors are preparing to perform abdominal surgery on him. Doctors
made the decision to operate because the 86-year-old was complaining of worsening pain caused by a hernia. We've got NBC's Claudio Lavanga with us. He is outside that hospital in Rome right now. Hey, Claudio, good morning. So what exactly is this operation that the Pope is having, and how long will it mean that he's in the hospital?
Hey, Hey, Savannah. Well, the day started normally at the Vatican with the Pope attending all the events that were scheduled by the Vatican, including the general audience. And then the Vatican issued this surprise statement in which he said that just a couple of hours ago he was being taken here at the Gemelli Hospital to undergo a abdominal surgery to treat what the Vatican said was a persistent, painful and worsening intestinal blockage. Now, they call this surgery laparotomy, which essentially means they are going to make an incision on the abdominal cavity to treat what they called, again, this condition, which is laparocele. And the laparocele is the formation of a hernia on a previous scar, which makes us suppose that it has something to do with the colon surgery that Pope Francis underwent still here at the Gemelli Hospital in 2021 when he had 13 inches of his colon removed following an infection. Now, the Vatican said that he's going to, well, today, this afternoon, there will be the surgery, and then he's going to spend at least a few days here at the hospital to allow him, of course, to recover. Savannah.
Claudia, of course, as we know, the Pope has had several health issues over the last few years. That's the same hospital where he had part of his colon removed 2 years ago. Talk about this. Is this new setback a reason for concern?
It is definitely a reason for concern because the Pope has been seen here at the Gemelli Hospital yesterday as well. We got worried yesterday as well, but then it was just, they said it was just a regular checkup, and after a few hours, he returned to the Vatican. So we thought it was a bit of a false alarm, but clearly it wasn't. It was decided possibly yesterday that he still needed yet another surgery. This is an 86-year-old man with a long medical history, and then the fact that he's undergoing this surgery today under general anesthesia, well, that is dangerous too. Of course, that is dangerous for any elderly that undergo a serious surgery. But this will take a few hours, and the Vatican said that they will only update us once the surgery will be over.
Hey, Claudia, how are people reacting to this news? What's it like there in Rome right now?
Well, as you can imagine, here at the Gemelli Hospital, there's more journalists than people. The people are coming here at the Gemelli Hospital is to visit relatives that they have here. But I think that what people are very surprised because we keep getting these surprise statements by the Vatican that we know the Pope has been taken to the hospital at the last minute without any warning. I must say that because the Pope attended the general audience this morning, and honestly, he looked fine. It didn't look like there was anything wrong with him. Then, you know, it's supposedly this was a pre-scheduled surgery, but we only got to know it basically a couple of hours ago, guys.
Yeah. All right. Claudio, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Now let's bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar and stay on this news. Hi, Dr. Azar. Thanks for covering it all for us this morning. So let's talk through the seriousness of this type of surgery, as well as what Claudia mentioned there, that he is going under general anesthesia. How concerned are you about that?
So what's interesting about this is that nothing about the surgery or the story is surprising. This is all actually very predictable in the sense that if someone has had a prior surgery sets up a situation where you can have a scar. You can also develop a hernia in an area of a prior incision. And a hernia simply means a weakening of the abdominal wall and when the muscles of the abdominal wall. And when that happens, contents of the abdomen, like the bowel and things like that, can slip through and can get stuck in there.
Oh, boy.
And that's not good. And a lot of times you can just reduce it manually. I mean, just push it back in. But when you can't, then that becomes a setup for what's called incarceration and then strangulation, and those names sound horrible, and they are because the tissue can actually die. Right. And so the procedure is actually also reasonably straightforward, i.e. they are opening him up. Sometimes they do it laparoscopically, you know, where they just do the scopes. They are doing it open, so they've made a decision that they really need to kind of get in there and look. And that not worries me, but that makes me think that's a bigger surgery than laparoscopy. And then they'll do a repair. And if everything goes well, he'll recover fully. But there's always potential for complications. And I don't want to sound ageist, but the fact that he is 86 years old is always an issue.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and there's just the fact that he has a lot of medical issues right now. How much can those complicate this, including the fact he had surgery 2 years ago on this? And do we have any idea what are the odds that maybe he would need surgery again for this down the road?
Well, the thing is, you know, again, I'm not a general surgeon, but these things sometimes don't work, right? They put different synthetic devices in there like mesh and things like that. Sometimes they don't take. Sometimes you do have to go back in. Sometimes there can be infection. You know, his medical history, from what we gather, is not overly significant. He was hospitalized for bronchitis this March. Any pulmonary or lung infection when you get older is serious. But as far as we know, he doesn't really have any bad underlying lung disease or heart disease. So he's a reasonably good surgical candidate, as good as you can be in your late 80s. The fact that they're doing this electively, not emergently, right, means that they had time to prepare and they had time to pre-op him and make sure that his heart and lungs and everything was going to be maximized before the procedure today. That's always a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's good context, too, because, of course, it's a big deal because he's the Pope, but some of this seems like it's, you know, relatively...
If everything goes well, it's very routine.
Yeah.
But there are always places where, you know, you can veer off the path. And that's, of course, what we're all going to be waiting to find out, that everything went well for the surgery. And then the next few days and weeks will be the most telling to make sure that there were no complications, that he's recovering fully, and we'll get a better idea of where he is.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, very quickly, he has trips coming up. Will this impact those?
You know, I know, and it doesn't seem like they've changed his schedule.
Right.
I would say, like, you know, he can't do heavy lifting, this and that. I mean, it may take a few weeks to recover. So if he's got stuff in August, he can probably participate, but it's going to be a bit of a rough couple of weeks for him, I think.
They don't have to make that decision today. So
Exactly.
One step at a time.
We have time, not till August. Dr. Azar, thank you so much.
Thanks. Now to the latest on those dangerous air conditions impacting nearly 100 million people in the U.S.
In the South and Midwest, high concentrations of ozone. That's when pollutants are paired with heat that cause problems. And then in the East Coast, we're waking up in a haze again. These are live pictures from Midtown Manhattan. You can see that smoke consuming the skyline. NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa is just across the Hudson River in New Jersey. Look at the sky behind her. Hey, Emily, good morning.
Hey there, you can see the haziness behind me. That's as a result of the smoke drifting all the way from Canada. Typically, just out of view here, I would be able to see the George Washington Bridge. Well, this morning, that is simply not the case. And not only are these raging wildfires impacting what we see, but also what we smell. At times, the scent so pungent, like standing too close to a barbecue, and it can give you a headache. Here in Hoboken, New Jersey, we are seeing recreational outdoor activities canceled today as smoke worsens the air quality for tens of millions. As sweeping wildfires in Canada rage on this morning, hazardous plumes of smoke from those towering flames are seeping into the U.S., from the Northeast to the upper Midwest.
It was real hazy flying here. We could, even flying out of O'Hare, we could barely see the downtown Chicago area.
The thick smoke even drifting hundreds of miles south, hiding mountain peaks in the Carolinas. Tens of millions of Americans set to face air quality alerts for a second day in a row, with yellow and brownish hues creating apocalyptic scenes splashed across social media.
Never seen nothing like this in my life.
This is not a filter. I feel like I'm on an episode of The Last of Us.
At one point Tuesday, New York City had the worst air quality in the entire world, forcing several minor league teams to cancel games because of health concerns. While in the big leagues, the Yankees and White Sox played through the heavy haze.
I'm definitely congested here, and my throat is a little like I'm kind of losing my voice.
Experts say smoke particles can lead to headaches, irritated eyes, a scratchy throat, even difficulty breathing, especially for vulnerable populations, which include seniors, young children, pregnant women, and those with respiratory conditions.
What would you recommend for people in poor air quality regions?
Limit the time you spend outdoors and limit the amount of physical activity, the strenuous physical activity that you're doing.
That's the sun right now.
And air pollution from these kinds of wildfires is only getting worse. Over the last decade, Stanford researchers found the number of people who experienced at least one day of unhealthy air quality from smoke has increased by 27 times.
That smoke travels, that smoke blows to other areas. And so really there's no part of the continental United States where you can say that you'll be completely safe.
And while we're watching the effects of wildfires from across America's borders, remember, there is still a very high risk for fires domestically, too. Just yesterday, we saw a blaze break out here in New Jersey. It remains out of control at this point. And so those kinds of flare-ups can serve as a 1-2 punch for air quality in the region. Joe and Savannah.
All right, Emily, stay safe out there. Hopefully you don't get a headache. Get inside as soon as you can. Thanks for your reporting.
Let's continue with our coverage of this poor air quality across the country and get a closer look at how it's impacting your morning news now weather forecast. forecast.
Of course, means Angie Lastman is back and has the details. Hey, Angie.
Hey, guys. We've got 98 million people under these air quality alerts spanning basically the whole eastern half of the country. We've got ozone that is causing some difficulty for folks in Kansas City, Dallas, Houston, really focused towards the plains and parts of the Midwest. But it's the Northeast that really has been dealing with that heavy, thick smoke working through, as you just heard Emily talk about. We've got kind of a couple of things going on that's set us up for this situation. So, of course, we have the Quebec wildfires. They are raging on at this hour. Not many of them are under control. So we continue to see a lot of smoke working its way to the south. But we've got a low pressure system that's just kind of ushering in all of that smoke right on into parts of the Northeast and really focusing the heaviest of those plumes, the thickest of those plumes right over major cities. This is going to be something we'll deal with here for the next day or so. That low pressure system doesn't look like it's moving out anytime soon. We'll likely start to see those winds change up as we get closer to the weekend. So this will be something that as we go through today and even tomorrow, you're going to want to make note of and pay attention to. That intense smoke will be around for today. The heaviest of it right now in western New York. But as we get into tomorrow, we'll start to see places like the Ohio Valley, western PA, see some of that thicker smoke working through, causing that haze over those areas. Now, in the meantime, the air quality unhealthy for 83 million people. This is from the smoke specifically. And you can see the purples. You can see those brighter reds, the hazardous over parts of western New York, Watertown included in that. The rest of us still dealing with not great conditions either. This means limiting your outdoor activity. You heard some of that advice from Emily's piece. We're talking 271 for Harrisburg, 213 for Philadelphia on that air quality index, and still unhealthy ranges for New York as well. Washington, D.C., 194. And guys, these numbers continue to go up. This is going to be something we'll deal with throughout the day. I want to mention people can get this kind of information if you're out and about on airnow.gov. This comes from the EPA. So if you're trying to get some exercise in outdoors, it's going to be good to know that.
And we all have masks handy right now.
We do. That's true.
There you go.
Definitely.
Good advice there.
All right. Thanks, Angie. Appreciate it. The Richmond, Virginia community is grieving after a gunman opened fire at a high school graduation ceremony yesterday, killing at least 2 people. The suspected gunman has been arrested and is expected to face 2 counts of second-degree murder. Richmond police say one of the victims had just received his diploma. NBC News correspondent Aaron Gilchrist joins us now from Richmond with the latest. Aaron, good morning.
Joe, good morning to you. You're right. The graduation ceremony here was just ending yesterday. I can tell you, I'm a Richmond Public Schools graduate. I was in this building for my sister's graduation 25 years ago this week. I can tell you from experience, there were hundreds of people out here on the sidewalk after the ceremony yesterday, taking pictures, hugging, celebrating a major milestone in these young people's lives when those gunshots rang out. Today, we know the suspect was stopped pretty quickly after the shooting happened here and is now facing a charge of second-degree murder.
What started out as a day of celebration quickly turning to tragedy.
We have an active shooter at a graduation.
Gunfire erupting on the campus of Virginia Commonwealth University, just moments after students from Richmond's Huguenot High School held their graduation. The shooting leaving 2 dead. 18-year-old Sean Jackson just graduated, and his father, 36-year-old Renzo Smith. Investigators say 5 others ranging in age from 14 to 58 were also shot, one of them suffering life-threatening injuries.
We have multiple reports of shootings in Monroe Park.
Several others were hurt as they fled the gunfire, including a 9-year-old girl who's expected to be okay after being hit by a car.
We had hundreds of people in Monroe Park, so people scattered. It was very chaotic at the scene.
In custody this morning, 19-year-old suspect Amari Tyjon Pollard. Police say they recovered 4 handguns after a school security officer managed to detain the suspected shooter on the VCU campus. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin writing, "As we struggle to fully comprehend this tragedy, our hearts break for those whose lives were lost." Richmond's mayor outraged his community is the latest target of senseless gun violence.
This is tragic, but also traumatic, because this is their graduation day. Is nothing sacred any longer? Is nothing sacred any longer?
Now, police believe the suspect they have in custody was the only person connected to the shooting that happened here. He's expected to be in court for an arraignment later this morning. Joe, I'll send it back to you and note that there were 6 other graduations that were supposed to happen for the Richmond Public School District here this week. All of those graduations have now been canceled.
Wow, huge impact. All right, Aaron Gilchrist, thank you so much.
Now to the growing Republican presidential field as former Vice President Mike Pence formally launches his run for the White House. Pence is the latest candidate to take aim at GOP frontrunner, of course, his former boss, former President Trump. NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns joins us now from Iowa, where he's planning to hold a kickoff event and where she will likely be spending quite a bit of time. Hey, Dasha, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning. That's right. Former Vice President Mike Pence set to make his formal announcement here in Iowa today. This is a critical early state that could help cull that increasingly large GOP field. And this is going to be a critical moment to test whether the vice president has that path to the White House. Watch.
This morning, more candidates aiming to beat former President Donald Trump to the Republican nomination, after former New Jersey Governor Christie announced his run in New Hampshire with a clear target in mind.
Let me be very clear. I am going out there to take out Donald Trump.
And now the man who served alongside Trump challenging him in the packed primary.
Today, before God and my family, I'm announcing I'm running for President of the United States.
Former Vice President Mike Pence launching his candidacy today in the Hawkeye State after stumping in early battlegrounds recently, looking to distinguish himself from his old boss after Trump praised Kim Jong-un.
Whether it's my former running mate or anyone else, no one should be praising the dictator in North Korea.
The rift between the two former allies starting on January 6th, when Pence certified the 2020 election. Now he has rebuked Trump for his words that day, but wouldn't comment on whether he held any legal responsibility.
From where you sat, do you believe that Donald Trump incited that riot?
I will tell you that I think the president's words that day were reckless. But on the legal question about legal culpability, I'm less certain.
While Christie sharpens his attacks.
It is the last throes of a bitter, angry man who wants power back for himself, not for you.
North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum is also expected to jump in today, but the growing crowd of contenders not fazing the frontrunner.
I don't know why people are doing it. They're at 1%, some are at 0%.
With Mr. Trump's top rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, trailing by double digits in early national polls, it's sure to be an uphill climb for any candidate running against him.
3 presidential bids this week alone, Savannah, with more likely on the way.
Absolutely. Dasha Burns, thank you so much.
Floodwaters are rising rapidly in Ukraine, where tens of thousands of people are said to be at risk after yesterday's unprecedented dam breach. Rescue teams in the southern Kherson region have been racing to evacuate those affected by the flooding. NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter joins us now from Kyiv with the latest. Molly, good morning.
Joe, Savannah, good morning to both of you. The pictures, the images, the videos that we're seeing just over 24 hours after that huge explosion are really striking villages completely underwater. Now, officials expect the water levels to rise about 3 feet over the course of the day, then stay at that level for about 4 or 5 days. But, Joe, as you mentioned, the focus today is on those evacuations. Take a look.
This morning, the water is still rising, rushing through the growing hole in the Kakhovka Dam. The explosion destroying the dam on the southern front line, flooding villages in Kherson already ravaged by this war. 2 U.S. officials and 1 Western official telling NBC News the U.S. has intelligence that is leaning toward Russia being the perpetrator of yesterday's attack, but no final conclusion. This morning, rescuers working to evacuate Ukrainian civilians in the Kherson region. More than 1,500 people have been taken to safety, getting out any way they can amid continued Russian shelling. I was hoping I could stay here, Svetlana says, but then the water began to run with such force. Tens of thousands and some 80 villages are affected. Seen in new satellite photos, the devastation area is growing. Nearly 2,000 buildings have been flooded on the west bank of the river, a roof of a house seen floating by. Just 100 miles upriver from the dam, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. The country's nuclear energy chief telling NBC News that for now, there's enough water in the cooling pools, but Russian occupation of the plant means nothing is safe.
There is no immediate threat in that, and the level is normal. Their presence on site, and this is my biggest concern.
Kyiv is pointing the finger directly at Moscow.
Russia's deliberate and long-planned terrorist act turned the man-made flood into a weapon.
and Russian state media first denying responsibility, then accusing Ukraine. The catastrophic situation unfolding as Ukraine preps its long-awaited counteroffensive. And overnight, President Zelensky saying the dam detonation does not hinder their plans to deoccupy Ukrainian territories.
Now, Joe, according to experts, the actual structure of what remains of that dam will continue to deteriorate. That may not only speed up the speed of the water going through, but also increase the amount of water that is flowing downstream. Here in Kyiv, though, frustration really growing among Ukrainian officials that their American allies and U.S. officials have not come out more strongly and specifically blamed Russia. Joe?
All right, Molly, thank you so much. Coming up a little later on Morning News Now, it is round 2 of Flipping the Script this week. Just days before the Tony Awards, we're going to bring you a candid conversation with the Broadway playwright who's putting a modern twist on a Shakespeare classic.
Plus, day 2 of Prince Harry's historic testimony against that British tabloid giant. We will take you inside that London courtroom after the break.
Welcome back. In London, Prince Harry has been on the witness stand in his lawsuit against British tabloids. The Duke of Sussex is accusing Mirror Group newspapers of unlawfully gathering information, including by hacking phones. NBC News chief international correspondent Keir Simmons has the latest.
This morning, Prince Harry is back in court for the second and final day of his historic testimony. Harry and his wife Meghan and a number of other celebrities are accusing the tabloid Mirror newspaper group of phone hacking, unlawful information gathering, and an invasion of privacy. The Mirror's attorney continuing his cross-examination this morning, pointing out what he claims were more discrepancies in the Duke's witness statement. But Prince Harry repeatedly pushing back, saying, quote, "I believe phone hacking was at an industrial scale," telling the court, quote, "I have no idea how anybody would know specific details reported by the newspaper." The Prince's testimony opened him up to a challenging cross-examination from the Mirror's attorney yesterday, after Harry submitted a long statement writing about the press how much more blood will stain their typing fingers before someone can put a stop to this madness. In court, he doubled down, saying journalists were responsible for, in some cases, death.
My mum was harassed throughout her life with my dad, but after they separated, the harassment went to new levels.
Claiming journalists hacked Princess Diana's phone as well as his own. But the defense pushed back, highlighting gaps in his recollection of events. Harry admitting he couldn't remember reading some of the articles he claims caused him distress. The paper's attorney arguing that details published about the prince were obtained through legal methods, including royal press releases and tips, and denying Harry's allegation that Mirror journalists had hacked either his phone or Diana's. The Duke also blaming the, quote, prying eyes of the tabloids for his breakup with then-girlfriend Chelsea Davy. At one point, discussing another story, the Prince could not answer questions about whose phone he believed was hacked for details. The Mirror's attorney saying, "Are we not, Prince Harry, in the realms of total speculation?"
So I think most of us would think that those press articles were pretty horrible, but were they illegal? Were they got through illegal measures? That is what the case absolutely hangs on.
Our thanks to Keir Simmons for that reporting. And this morning, attorneys for the Mirror Group have finished that cross-examination of Prince Harry.
Well, turning now to the growing tension between the governors of Florida and California. This is over the recent handling of relocated migrants. Florida officials confirmed to NBC News that the state did play a role in the arrangement for migrants to fly from Texas to California just last week. California Governor Gavin Newsom is now threatening legal action. NBC News correspondent Jacob Soboroff spoke with Newsom for an exclusive interview about the migrant crisis and how California plans to respond.
These flights of asylum seekers that are being brought to Sacramento, there have been 2 of them now. They've been described as state-sanctioned kidnapping by the Attorney General of this state, of California. You tweeted directly at the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. I want to get this right. You called him a small, pathetic man and asked, quote, kidnapping charges? Is that what you believe happened, Governor Newsom, that Florida kidnapped migrants and brought them to California?
I think I'm being generous, small, and pathetic. Very generous. He's just weakness masquerading as strength. Yeah, he's flailing. desperate for attention. Let's just level set here. Let's level set. Here's a governor from the state of Florida that is using taxpayer money, and he had to go to another state to find people under false pretense. I don't think this, I know this. I talked to the migrants, lied to them, took them into another state by bus, and then took them on a chartered flight to Sacramento, lying to them that they had help on the other side, knocked on the door, and they left these migrants right there on the steps. What kind of human being does that?
You can watch more of Jacob's interview with Governor Newsom, and that's going to include an exclusive announcement tomorrow.
This morning, we've got a look at the Cathedral of Notre Dame. Chief international correspondent Keir Simmons takes a look at the restoration efforts there ahead of next year's games.
Known as the heart of Paris, Notre Dame, French for Our Lady, will be part of the city's stunning setting during next year's Olympics. The scars from the fire are still visible this morning, but the resurrection of this religious icon is well underway. The blaze back in April 2019 was devastating, destroying her famous ceiling, tearing through the interior of the church, and spectacularly toppling the spire.
Oh my God, these people just fell inside the church. Oh my God.
Since that day, the task of reconstruction has been colossal. Stone, wood, paint, and glass. In this workshop, they are rebuilding parts of the ceiling, relearning techniques used by the original craftsmen centuries ago.
It's the way it was done in the medieval times.
Among them, Peter Henriksen, a carpenter from Minnesota who is here to lend his skills through a non-profit organization.
Good. 5-2. Being a part of this is really amazing. Thinking about what carpenters were thinking about when they were originally doing it.
Just a year before the fire, the Today Show got an exclusive tour of the cathedral. Are we going to run into Quasimodo?
It's possible.
Michelle Picot, who leads fundraising efforts in the US, showed me around back then, up to the bell tower. Among the ancient rafters and inside the spire that would soon become a raging inferno. And this is what the inside of the cathedral looks like now. The race to restore her, a marathon. This week, I met Michelle Picard again, who says they can see the finishing line, though the inside will not be complete before the games. Will she look the way she did? Maybe better?
She will look better. So the spire will be rebuilt this year, and the roof will be rebuilt in 2024. So when the Olympics will happen, you will see the cathedral from the exterior, I would say more or less as it was before the fire.
Also returning to their home on top of the cathedral will be these 16 statues made of copper, now on display in the Paris Museum of Architecture. Incredibly, just 4 days before the fire, they were removed for some TLC, a lucky escape.
It was a miracle, really.
Yeah.
Maybe the hand of God.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a real miracle, because if they were not removed,
they wouldn't be here.
No.
And while the cathedral won't be open by next summer, down in the ancient crypt, visitors can experience Notre Dame through virtual reality.
Wow, now I'm right at the entrance, but not in 2023, but 800 years ago. So real.
This immersive 3D marvel is the closest visitors to the games will come to the real thing, and to the Olympic effort now underway to return it to the people of Paris.
Thank you so much, Keir. So much to look forward to.
Oh, cool. A carpenter from your home state, from Minnesota, all the way there helping out. What an incredible effort. Beautiful to see. Thanks, Keir. Well, coming up, imagine serving jury duty, but after the final gavel sounds, the jury actually served you.
Yeah, it was the swindling of a lifetime, and it happened to one unsuspecting juror, or at least he thought he was a juror. We'll explain next.
Does your life ever feel like a reality TV show? You're like, is this real? Is this not? Well, Ronald Gladden, the unsuspecting star of the hit show Jury Duty, did occasionally have that feeling, but he was shocked to eventually learn he was right.
Yeah, Gladden was the lone average Joe in a courtroom setting filled with over-the-top paid actors. Now he's reflecting on his time on the show and his newfound stardom. Here's NBC News Now reporter Maya Egwin.
The star of Amazon Freebies' new comedy series Jury Duty.
Try to keep an eye on them.
I want to do the best job that I can.
Didn't know he was going to be a star at all.
I had no idea what to expect, so it was like a nervous, excited energy.
The semi-scripted reality show follows Ronald Gladden, a Los Angeles man who thinks he signed up for a documentary that would follow a group of jurors as they sit through a real trial.
Would you be able to be a good juror for this matter?
Sir. I'm racist.
Sir, please have a seat.
I don't know why I said that.
Eliminate that for the next time.
Totally, yeah.
But in reality, 11 of the jurors were all trained actors for a sham trial.
So you guys are all actors.
They are actors.
So did you actually get hurt?
Most notably, James Marsden from The Notebook and Sonic the Hedgehog.
I'm a recognizable public figure.
Respectfully, I don't recognize you. I'm sorry. Who are you?
That's okay. A lot of people do.
The concept is simple but hilarious. Each episode tests Ronald with pranks, weird requests, and outlandish behavior.
Todd is a very interesting individual. He showed up wearing chair pants.
The difficulty is the lack of a bend.
Jesus Christ.
We caught up with Ronald, who opened up about how being bored with his solar construction job led to him randomly coming across the trick casting on Craigslist.
I kind of felt a little burnt out with what I was doing, so I was really just trying to see what else was out there.
So you wanted a plot twist.
That is a great way to put it. There has not been a single day that we've had that's just been smooth. There's always something crazy that comes up. This literally feels like reality TV.
A few times throughout the show, you say, this seems like it could be fake, or this feels like it could be a reality show. When were the points where you were, like, questioning what was going on?
Well, there were a few instances where I wouldn't say I seriously questioned it, but they definitely raised, like, some major red flags. James did a great job of playing this off because I turned to him and I was like, dude, I feel like I'm on reality TV. And he kind of, shrugged it off. He's like, yeah, it sure does feel like it, doesn't it?
But just a little, let me see some characters.
How much were you aware of the filming happening?
So I think it's very obvious when I know when I'm not being filmed because my language is a bit looser, if you will.
Okay.
I'm very professional when I know I'm on camera.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very clear when I'm not on camera, but I had no idea there were any hidden cameras. What the Oh, it's a camera spot?
In the end, Ronald walked away with a $100,000 prize and a completely new direction. Do you feel like this series has really opened up kind of a new pathway for your life?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The fact that I'm even in the entertainment industry right now is just, it blows my mind. Oh, boy, I love jury duty.
Maya Eaglin, NBC News.
He's going to be a professional juror now. Thanks to Maya for that report. Someone was literally telling me about that show last night.
I am dying to watch it. I was just cackling watching that piece. Maya, that was a great interview and hilarious. All right. Coming up, a second family style helping of flipping the script this week.
After the break, my conversation with the Broadway playwright who's mixing Shakespeare, a little barbecue, and so much more. Stick around.
Welcome back. All right, I am a big Cheez-It fan, so if you are too, you're going to want to see this. It's a Cheez-It-themed gas station and souvenir shop. The snacks owner Kellogg Company transformed this site in Joshua Tree, California. They also have a pump, which they say literally pumps a stream of Cheez-It bags right into your car window. The gas station store also contains exclusive merch and rare Cheez-It flavors. It's open until Sunday. That's actually what I always buy at a gas station, you know, on a road trip, so I guess I would love it.
It's because it's the healthiest thing at a gas station, probably.
Maybe.
All right. Thanks, Savannah. Appreciate it. Now to our series, Flipping the Script, featuring people on screen, on stage, and behind the scenes, shining a spotlight on diversity. Enter James Imes, the Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright. His smash hit show, Fat Ham, is on Broadway and is looking to win big at this Sunday's Tony Awards.
I think my uncle had my father killed. Yeah! Now my father wants me to kill my uncle.
Split him open! Like revenge? What are you gonna do?
I think I'm gonna kill someone.
Dude, whoever it is, do it. You want some help?
You're intense.
I'm expressive.
The secret is the...
As you may have guessed, the play is a modern take on Hamlet, but instead of taking place in Denmark, it's set at a family barbecue in the South. And for more on this, we are joined by the man behind Fat Ham, James Imes. Thank you so much for being here. I want to call you James I. James. That's what everyone wants to call you, I'm guessing, right?
My whole life.
Congratulations on the Pulitzer Prize. Fat Ham is nominated for 5 Tony Awards, including Best New Play. How exciting is it to receive these accolades?
It's so exciting.
exciting. It seems like the most beautiful cherry on top of a really great year that started with the Pulitzer. I'm just overwhelmed by it all, so I'm elated.
When people ask me what it's about, I say it's a very modern take on Hamlet. That's probably an oversimplification. How do you describe the plot to folks?
I say that it is about a guy named Juicy who's kind of like Hamlet, who decides that he doesn't want to die. And so he figures out how to not die.
That's a good way to put it. I mean, this is at the center of this is a black queer character. A year ago at the Tonys, the big winner was A Strange Loop, also about a black queer character. What does it mean to have these stories being told on such a big stage right now on Broadway?
It just makes me so happy because when I was young, I didn't have a whole lot of those kinds of images that I could turn to on TV, on stage, anywhere really. And I'm glad that there are more things like that for young queer people in the country who are looking for a mirror to look into to say, oh, that's me. I felt that way when I sat through Strange Loop. I love that musical so much, so I'm glad that this play is joining that number.
Are you hearing from people who are having that reaction? I mean, what are some of the things you're hearing from people?
I mean, there's several people who have come up to me with tears in their eyes and they're like, I've never seen myself on stage and tonight I did, or oh, that like unlocked something for me that helped me understand my son or my daughter or my child in a way that I hadn't before. It's really special. And the number of like young people that are saying, I've seen it like 3 times, which I'm always like, oh my God.
When you hear that, what's your reaction?
I just want to like, you know, hug them and tell them thank you. It just means so much to me that something that I wrote is like meeting people and they're being moved by it. It really is the best feeling.
It is so great to hear that response. At the same time, I think of the fact Strange Loop won all these accolades last year. It's closed now. You had Ain't No Mo, which was a story that focused on blackness, on queerness. It didn't even last a month, even though it got all this praise. What do we need to do to make sure that not only these shows get to Broadway, but that they stay open and more people see them, do you think?
I think it's about time. The shows really do need time to find the audience, to find the excitement around them. Like even with our show, which has done pretty well, you know, the ticket sales have gone up because the word of mouth took a little while for people to like really understand what the show was and feel like they wanted to be compelled to come. So time, I think, is important. Resources, making sure that those shows have the same kind of resources that more mainstream things do. I think those are the 2 big things that would make a big difference.
Which is hard on Broadway because the margins are so slim and it's hard to keep a show open. But if we can, great things can happen, right?
Yeah, it's worth the challenge.
What are you working on next? What's the big project for you?
I have a couple of commissions that I'm finishing up, and I have been working on a musical with some collaborators for a while, where I'm co-writing the book. But I'm always writing about 3 or 4 things at any given moment and researching other things. So that's kind of what I got going on right now.
How exciting is it to work on a musical after doing a traditional play? Is it a huge difference, or do the same skill sets apply pretty well?
And there's a little bit of difference. Like it's slightly more economic. You know, it's more about helping the story of the music pull together, and I really enjoy that. And I came out of music. I was a vocal performance major in college, so it just feels really good to be back in that form a little bit.
You want to take the stage yourself and sing a little bit? You're like, no, we're going to save that for the very skilled performers.
Yes, people who are, you know, gifted with that.
And one of your performers is also nominated for a Tony. How excited are you for her?
Yes, the divine Nikki Crawford. She's amazing. This is the 2nd play of mine she's done, and she's just very dear to me. She understands the craziness that is my brain like nobody else.
Thank you so much, James Imes. Congratulations on all the accolades. Wishing you the best of luck at the Tony Awards this Sunday.
Oh, gosh, thank you so much for having me.
All right, and that is going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Great interview, so cool. The news continues right now, though. Stick with us.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.